Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is a morning roundup. Yeah, why not? And I'm going to talk about a couple different shows. This is an experiment. This might not work, and I might end up by the end of this stream just with this look on my face. Because where I'm at the moment, it's 8:20 in the morning. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what morning show you're listening to, but this is the Issues morning show, and I am Babelfest 97. Well, not 97. It's not 1997, but it might be 1997 by the time I'm finished with this. Holy shit, it's good to be back. It's going to be interesting because we don't usually broadcast at this time of day, and we also aren't talking about a specific topic. It's more of a roundup, so I'm very interested to see who we have come on in with us this morning. But everybody, as they wander in, oh, we've got Jordy Jedi. Now that is a contradiction of terms right there, and I love it. I just imagine Mr. Reading Rainbow Jordy getting Jedi powers, and it's amazing. Oh, let's listen to some music. Now, excuse me. First off, happy holidays to anyone that celebrates such things in the U.S. It's been a crazy week. I don't even want to get into it. You ever have one of those weeks in life where so much shit happens, so many things change your norm in life that the whole world gets clusterfucked, and you're like, what do I do now? And you go back to try to do your everyday thing or your normal thing, and it just doesn't seem like you can quite get it out. I did a little live stream on the 3rd of July from my phone in my backyard where I was shit-faced drunk after drinking 2 very strong beers in the matter of an hour. And I just babbled and babbled and babbled. But then after that, continuing with that night on since then, since last, what is it, Thursday? It's been a road of clusterfuck. It's been emotional tripping. Like I took emotional acid and I've just been going through this crazy fucking trip. And so I haven't got out here as much as I want the last couple of days. So that's part of the reason why I'm here. It's part of the reason why I have Euron Greyjoy on my screen right now instead of talking, instead of having someone from one of the shows that we're going to talk about. So I'm a little scatterbrained all over the place. But I'm here to babble to you guys this morning. So if anyone has any thoughts. Now, the first show we're going to be talking about today, we're talking about 3 different shows. Briefly, not big, long, me digging in, me getting out my shovel and shoes and trying to push myself underground like an ostrich to talk about all 3 of these shows. We're not going to get that deep in the weeds here. Oh, it's weed. It's 8 in the morning. Is it too early for weed? Intern, get me weed. I'm sorry, Phil. You don't have an intern. Fuck. Intern, roll it up. But we're going to be talking about, for a request, as some people know, we have Super Chat over here. We have a wheel spin. We also have our wonderful patrons. And some of the patrons, depending on your reward level or depending on where the wheel ends, you get to pick requests of shows you want me to cover. Or whether it be an episode, a season, I try to make it happen, whatever the person requests. Now, there's certain shows and certain requests I haven't got to in as timely a manner as I wanted to. Gungrave is one of them that stands out to me. Al Red Sox fans, Slapshot request is another one that sticks out to me and sticks in my craw. And then we also have someone that wanted Matt and I to talk about The Sopranos season finale and want Joe and I to do a season 8 Game of Thrones preview cast. So all those things are coming in the future. But right now, what is coming all over the place, what's coming in my face, on my chest, is the Bates Motel. So we're going to be talking about Bates Motel for Jazmin Walking Dead because of her wonderful Super Chat donations and her wonderful patron support. Thank you, Jazmin. You're a motherfucking chatter. Also, I'm going to be mentioning Glow Season 2, which I just finished. So it's a little fresher in my mind. I won't be getting into too many specifics, but again, just general broad strokes about what I thought about Glow Season 2. And then last but not least, I will be mentioning Luke Cage Season 2. It's been a little while since I watched it, and a lot of shit's happened, as I've mentioned. I've traveled over the road, over the ridiculous mountains. See, this is where we come down to, can I do this? Can I do this when I've just been up for 5 minutes? Literally, I woke up, what time is it? It is 8:23 right now. I woke up at probably 7:59, and I got up almost almost like a zombie rising from the dead. This is me this morning. Dun, dun, dun. Da-da, Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms on. Come down, talk to the doc. Get on the damn show. Let's jump in the, here we go, the live motherfucking chat. We got some friends in the live chat right now. It's so interesting that when I get to do this at different times to see some different faces, we definitely see some of our friends that we know, but also some people that probably don't usually get to check out this silliness live because I'm at an odd, awful time. It's not awful, but I don't know if my brain's quite jump-started yet. So you might see extra slowdowns. I'm like a computer that's just been turned on, and it's an older computer because the years keep going by and my drives keep melting or slowing down. So when you see me in the morning, or sometimes even at the very beginning of a show, I don't quite, the brain gear thingies aren't quite working yet. And right now it's like, it's like a rat on a wheel right now, spinning inside my head. Being like, wake up, asshole. Wake the fuck up. But of course, the live motherfucking chat. We got Jordy, we got Bubba, we got Miles, we got Lights, we got Cindy, Sammy. We got so many folks that will be popping in and out of here over the course of this silly stream. I need to get some silly string. So every time that I say silly stream, I can just go, ah! I mean, what the fuck am I doing here? You know? Come on. I got to do that shit. Press 1 for beatbox, press 2 for rapping. Is that what you guys want? You want the beatbox and the rapping morning? Is that what has to happen here? Let's see what the... I can't really beatbox. Trapped inside a soul, feeling tired, burned out of control. Your mind wants to fly, though your body lies on the earth forever. Okay, that's not that. Oh, Huggy Bears. But Lights, that was for you. You got both 1 and 2. But by saying number 1 and number 2, I suddenly have to go to the bathroom. It's still the morning. I also wanted to mention, if anyone is listening to this live and they want to call in, please call in. And the cool thing about the roundup here is, yeah, I'm talking about these 3 shows, but the roundup is really the most loose program. That sounded so dirty. Get that loose program. Welcome to the loose program. Talking about my ground, talking about my scene, talking about the loose program on my dreams. Okay, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit, asshole. Let's scroll down. I guess everyone's sleeping today. It's one of those things, though, Miles, that it's the morning that usually most people that listen to me probably aren't even awake yet. Slow down equals regular speed. It's true, Bubba. Me in slow down mode is probably most people's considering regular speed. They're like, oh, finally, I can deal with you. You're not going like that. You're not doing anything stupid like that. So this is me calm. This is me fucking calm. Miles, I love you, and I love all of you guys that happen to be popping in here this morning. As I mentioned, I know this is not my usual time, not my usual kind of crap, but why the fuck not, you know? Come on. I'm up. I've got shit to do for a couple of hours, and I've been putting this shit off. Yeah, it's funky. Oh, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back again to the Issues program. So the first show we're going to talk about here today is a show called Bates Motel. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the whole series of Bates Motel. I'm specifically talking about season 1. Now, Jazmin Walking Dead made this request, and I got to admit, when she first made the request, I was a little bit like... I'm not a big fan by nature of reboots, reimaginations, recreations of other characters, other actors and characters. other actors having the characters played as younger ages and casting them with different people. I think 90% of the time that does not work. I think especially when you have such iconic actors that play certain roles. So many examples of it that have happened and failed. I think there are some examples of things that work. Joe and I both mentioned the Lethal Weapon series that's on, or was on the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with it next year, considering some of the casting things that happened on and some of the people that were fired off that show. I think that's a decent example of a reboot or a reimagination or sequel. Lethal Weapon isn't a sequel, but for the basis of this conversation, I'm kind of grouping all that shit together. I know that there's a difference between a sequel series, something like Cobra Kai, and then a prequel or a spin-off or a reimagination of it, a reboot. But for the basis of this discussion and the basis of knowing what the fuck I'm talking about, I might refer to all those things as interchangeable. I understand that they're all very fucking different things, and I'm not trying to recreate, oh no, they're all the same thing, they're all the same fucking boat. But I know I don't talk correctly all the time. I know I picked the total wrong thing to do with my life, and I shouldn't talk to people. But here you are, here I am, it's happening. So I might call it a reboot or call it a prequel or refer to shows like that as different things at different times, and it doesn't change the fact of what they are. And I think that's true in life in general. Maybe because I'm I'm trying to get some hair out of my mouth. What are you doing there? What are you doing? You're like a cat cleaning yourself. I'm trying to get some hair out of my mouth. I think just in general, I don't know what the fuck I was going to say. I don't know what the fuck I was going to talk about. No one cares. No, I just think in general, reboots or reimaginations are something that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think they can be good sometimes. And I also think that if you know what someone means, it's just a general point. Sometimes, not me personally. I mean, I'm putting myself out here. I'm on fucking YouTube on a fucking box in the screen talking about nothing. I'm putting myself in a position to tell me you're fucked up, asshole. But I just mean in general, like when you're talking with your friend and you say something that isn't quite the word you mean to say, but they know what you mean and they correct you. Hey, didn't you mean pachoopis? And you're like, I said papoopy, and you know I meant pachuchi. And then they're just correcting you to be an asshole or to prove that they're better than you. And you know, you're not better than me because you pronounce a word better. You're just a dick. Either way, go fuck yourself. Fuck you, late YouTube notifications. When did I miss this? You didn't miss much, Tom. You've only missed 12 minutes. Something to that effect. 12 minutes. I was thinking of something funny last night. And I can't remember what it is. I almost want to phone a friend here and call Stephanie and be like, Stephanie, what was that joke I was telling last night? It was very, very funny. I didn't get a chance to write it down. I'm such an asshole. Okay, but you ultimately do know what I'm trying to say, or know what the person's trying to say. Okay, so I may interchangeably use the words reboot, sequel, prequel, all that kind of crap. Ultimately, Bates Motel is a reboot prequel, I guess, but it's also it's not really it's not really a paper. Kids, call Detroit. Detroit, line 2. What's your problem?
Phil, I'm not in love with myself anymore.
Well, do you love my voice?
Okay, so got some morning growing pains here. So Bates Motel it takes the events or the character people from Psycho. If people don't know what it is, Psycho, an Alfred Hitchcock movie, it takes one of the most iconic horror movie characters in Norman Bates and show you what it's like as him as a kid. But the show isn't that simple. The show is about Norman Bates, is about Psycho, but it It's very focused on the Bates Motel, obviously, with the title and what people know about that. I don't want to get too into the Psycho movies if people haven't seen them before, but they're definitely extremely iconic horror movie, one of the big foundation forms. Hitchcock was maybe the best ever in his era, what he tried to do, and maybe one of the best ever of all time in creating these unique properties that created a sense of fear in people and a sense of fuck, and seeing these sides that so many people were influenced, the Wes Cravens of the world. And I always go to Wes Craven, but but he's one of my favorites. So I focus on him a lot. Are so influenced by someone like Hitchcock. And Hitchcock also was just an excellent filmmaker in general, and one of those serious early time producers that made cinema and entertainment landscape what it is today. Psycho was one of his babies, was his Jaws to Spielberg in a sense. And the shower scene was like da-na. It was just big and iconic. And Anthony Perkins, is that his name? Yeah, playing Norman Bates, was so known for that role that he made a career and he made a life out of that. So you take all of that, you take this iconic universe, this iconic Psycho thing, the mother, this whole thing about it's almost on a line like in Oedipal complex or on some level, that through Psycho you deal with, not that Norman wants to fuck his mother and kill his father, but he definitely has a deeper love for his mother than seems healthy, without ruining anything about the Psycho movies. So, but you never really get to know, at least in my memory of them, you never really, as I'm talking around in circles because I don't want to spoil Psycho, a fucking 60-year-old movie, or however 80-year-old, however old movie it is, when you're going to come out in the fucking, I don't know. You're on the air, asshole. You fucking tell me what year fucking Psycho came out, you fucking dumbass. Like, who are we to tell you? But Psycho has been out forever. And sorry, I'm scrolling through here. So it's based on the Hitchcock film Norma Bates. Okay, so it's 1960s film. 1960. There we go. So you never really got to know the mother character. So a lot of the focus, at least in season 1, I haven't watched season 2 yet. I hear that the show jumps off the fucking cliff in season 2. That's what Joe was saying. Joe is going to do this with me, but, you know, shit comes up for Joe sometimes. But ultimately he said that he really enjoyed season 1, was a certain feel to it, that it jumped off the bridge in season 2. I haven't watched season 2 yet, so I can't speak to that. I can only speak to how I felt about season 1. I watched it a couple weeks ago, so it's not, all the events aren't as fresh. But I will say this right off the bat. It's a fun watch. Season 1 of Bates Motel surprised me. I was taken aback about how invested I was, mainly in the character of Norma Bates. Norman is a little bit more difficult for me to get on board with. I think they cast someone that looks a lot like Anthony Perkins, could play a young Anthony Perkins, and he has these moments that work for me. But there's some elements of when he gets all angry and shit like that that don't quite hold true for me. I do like when he's having his snaps, when you start to see the preview of the Norman Bates he could become in the future. If you guys know what I mean about that, without spoiling Psycho, a movie from 1960. So I feel that in him, and I can feel why they cast him. I just don't think he's the most compelling aspect of the show. I think what's interesting about the show is Norma Bates. She plays that character in season 1 like someone wearing a glove. She owns it. She owns this crazy. As someone that has some rage issues sometimes, and maybe I'm a little bit, what's the word? When I connect with someone and when I want someone's attention, it's not that I'm obsessive. It's not that I'm so into the person. I'm so insecure about myself that person's going to leave me sometimes that I overdo it. And I'm like, hi, I'm here. What's up? Hi, audience. I love you. Yeah. No, I really love you. don't go anywhere. I know usually in the mornings. I know I'm being more personal today, but come on, don't go. So I can get like that a little bit, and Norma's like that. That's part of the reason why I'm glad I don't have kids. I feel like I'd smother the fuck out of my kids if I had a kid. Either that, or I'd hijack their brain and put my body in it like I'm Reza Ghul or something. I don't see it. I think she is an exceptional actor. What's playing this role? Sorry for the pause there. Again, I'm trying to remember the fucking joke I told last night. I ran upstairs to Stephanie in the bedroom last night, and I showed her a joke. No, I had a joke. I go, this is a fucking great joke. Isn't this a great joke? And she, who is very tired and not necessarily in a mood to hear my hijinks, you know, when I don't have a show to talk on, when I don't come out here and talk enough, the people in my life have to hear me talk like this, and they're just like, oh, shut the flying fuck, Phil. We don't want to hear anything you have to say. You're just a loud, obnoxious fuck. And I was like, okay, it's true. But I ran upstairs. I'm like, I got a joke. What's the joke? I went to the hospital, and I got herpes. You know, something like that. Let's jump in the live chat. Yeah, they shouldn't stop making tape recorders. I bet a lot of jokes get lost every day. Good morning, Mel. King McKay. Howdy. Great to see the king in the live motherfucking chat. Lots of love to King McKay. Morning. It's 12:30 a.m. Finally, King McKay's thinking, finally, I'm on at a reasonable time. He's like, finally, I can sit and watch you and not be eating breakfast while I'm watching your stupid ass. Finally, it's an appropriate time to watch this madness, King McKay. Told himself, I could never get into that show. I don't know if that fucking kid's just too cutesy, quirky, geeky teenage girl, wet dream, like Michael Cera vibe going on. Good morning, T. Yeah, and I hear you about that, Tom. This is a show I would never watch if Jazmin didn't request this. And the reason why which is what's great about this show and great about when people do make super chat donations or jump on our patron support and offer me up some suggestions for stuff they'd like me to do. It kind of makes my job easy because half of why I don't podcast every day is this weird shit inside of me that makes me go, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Should I come out here and do something? That's not a good enough topic. I can't podcast about that. No one's going to give a shit about that. So sometimes when I have things I have to do, like something like Bates Motel Season 1, I came out here just because I felt like I watched this so long ago, I needed to get it the fuck out here. So I appreciate Jazmin kind of focusing me on having to do a topic I wouldn't normally do. So Norma Bates, the character of Norma Bates, is the best aspect of the show. Beginning to end, in Season 1, she owns it. She is a great actress. I'm not super familiar with her work. Let me see. Her name is Vera Farmiga. Vera Farmiga. I'm not a huge I was gonna say I'm not a huge fan. I don't know a lot of stuff she has done. Let me go scroll down to her filmography here. According to the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, blah, 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 she was in The Manchurian Candidate, Down to the Bone, which, The Departed. I don't remember her in The Departed. The Boy in Stripped Pajamas. The Orphan, Up in the Air, Source Code, Safe House, The Conjuring, and The Conjuring 2. So I wasn't familiar with her. I think she makes the show good. I also think they did a decent job casting in Norman's brother and some of the people around the town that create this interesting vibe. What do I really like about the show other than that? I think it's fun. It's snappy. It's got a snappy beat you can dance to. Hey kid, you got a snappy show? I do think the first season anyways, and I can't speak to anything else, makes you enough interested in the next episode to kind of want to push forward and keep going with it and want to binge it really quickly. It's got a good ebb and flow to it. So I gotta say, in general, the first season I liked the storyline of it. It kept me invested. It kept me focused. It kept me right from the beginning intensified. And it isn't as clear as Norman is a bad person, Norma's a bad person, and it's more bad shit happens, and these people have no chill when bad shit happens. Okay. You also get Richard from Lost in it playing the sheriff, which is a very interesting character. And I'm speaking in vagaries because I don't want to spoil anything. But let's get to some of the, not weaker points, but interesting aspects of it. That they live in the Buffy town. Was it something Dale? Riverdale? No, different town. Sunnydale. They live in a town where every crazy fucking thing you could imagine happening. Hippie drinking water. Ooh. Every crazy fucking thing that happens in this town. You want demons from underground to come up? I'm exaggerating, but this is the craziest town ever put on screen in some ways. It has so much fucked up shit that happens in this town, and it continuously happens. And in this first season, as you're discovering it, it's almost like discovering the season of Lost, and where you're like, everything on this island is all there's polar bears? Wait, and there's a smoke monster? What the shit is going on here? There's almost some element of that to it all. There's some element of... Whoa, hey, hi everybody. There's almost some element of that to it all. Some element of, wow, there's just crazy madness in this town. And I like that because it's one thing for a show to be set a standard as this is a normal universe, and when people break out of the norms of those universes to try to make a show better, that's when you get into last-ditch efforts, shows that aren't equal, or the term that I think is overused, jumping the shark, in the real way of what it means. Not in the way it's used today, that it's used at any show that isn't as good as it used to be. That's not, to me, what the meaning of that is. The meaning of jump the shark is when a show has a certain style or certain way about it. And to get bigger ratings because the show is failing, they try something out of the norm to save it. And they go, well, we'll have Fonzie jump the shark. We'll have Fonzie have a daughter. We'll bring in a younger kid onto this show to try to save it all. We'll bring a younger kid on to Who's the Boss or something to try to save it because Alyssa Milano's too old right now and they ignored Jonathan. Whatever. So to me, though, that's more rather than sometimes the term jumping the shark just gets used as, oh, the show jumped the shark because it sucks now. No, it's not that simple. A show can suck, can run past its point, run past the expiration date without jumping the shark. To me, that's a very specific thing. Let's jump in the live motherfucking chat for a second. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What is good, my friends? Midori, great to see Amy in the live motherfucking chat. Dog Sidious, I hate Westworld. Is Phil's rhythm off? Maybe a little bit. Is Phil, we're paid by the words, he would be as rich as fuck. If Phil were paid by words, I'd be rich as fuck. That's what most people tell me. I feel bad because most people in my normal life don't really want to hear me talk. And the problem with hearing me talk, too, is if I have something to say, I'll say it, and then I'll say it 20 different times just to, like, more specify what I mean because it gives me comfort to talk. When I'm nervous, I know some people get anxiety from listening to other people talk. I have some friends and some ladies in my life that they listen to me talk and they just go, shut the fuck up, dude. You're too much. Stop it. But I'm glad to have this forum. Between this and going to therapy, which is mental masturbation, going to all that sort of stuff and getting to just talk, it makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. Oh, I remember the joke. It's not that funny now. You know, I got this bad feeling about going to the hospital the other day, so I canceled my appointment. Oh, no, wait. What was it? I let my wife... Oh, now I remember what it was. Sorry. My wife's dying on an airplane. She's dying on an airplane. She's going to crash or something like that, and she's going to die. So she texts me. She's like, I'm going to die. And there's a guy next to me that wants to sleep with me. We're going to die. Should I let me sleep with him? So I let him sleep, and then I realized after I sent the text, like, you're going to die, go ahead, do what you want. I realized that not all people die in plane crashes. So, like, imagine, you know, the plane actually lands, it turns around, they're mid-sex. And then ultimately, she gets off the plane, and now she's pregnant. She's got her... It's not funny. See, all that lead up for that horrible joke. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. That my delivery was horrible. I'm more saying it right now so I remember it so I can write it down later. So if anyone ever hears anyone say this joke, it's stolen. Fucking stupid. Johnny's watching from his bathtub, and I'm embarrassing him. I'm embarrassing Johnny. Johnny, doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And then a big old shark came, a G.I. Joe. Yes, yes, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, hose. Okay. For me, here's a decent actress. I like her in that Clooney movie called Up in the Air. I know it sounds shitty. No, I mean, I gotta say, even when Clooney was in ER, and I never really watched ER, I always generally liked George Clooney because he seemed like he was a funny guy, and I'm glad the movie career that he had because he had some really fun roles. I like Three Kings. I like Dusk Till Dawn. I think he really proved himself and made his bones in some of those early roles that he had to prove he wasn't an ER doctor or in that Michelle Pfeiffer romantic comedy. What was that movie that I forget what it was called, but the two of them where they're both single parents or something like that, and they find love as single parents. It was really one of his first movies. And then G.I. Joe got stuck, and a big old shock came. Wonder where G.I. Joe went. Johnny's taking a bath, playing with his toy. There's a big difference right there if I said Johnny's in the bathtub playing with his toys, or if I said Johnny's in the bathtub playing with his toy. You know, there's a big difference with that S or not. That S creates a lot of different meaning. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou is another one of those big transitional Clooney movies as well. And I think I'm a big Coen Brothers movie fan. When Coen Brothers movies hit for me, they're probably at least one of my favorite filmmaking group working. And I think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is such an exceptional film. And also, it's one of those movies that holds a very special place in my heart because of when I saw it, where I saw it. I was on this big road trip, weird vacation, romantic adventure, summertime thing going on. I might not even have been in the summertime, but it was in the midst of this whole big, crazy, romantic me traveling around the world to try to follow this girl kind of thing, and I finally caught up with her, and we connected, and we went to go watch a movie, and it was that movie, and it brought so that movie is one of those movies, or movies and television. I also think even more so smells and sights. I think I've read somewhere, and who knows if as Michael McKean says in Spinal Tap, or David St. Hubbins says in Spinal Tap,
I believe virtually everything I read.
that smelling equals memory the closest. So there's certain smells and odors that personify feelings that I have. One Fine Day. Thank you, Mel. Thank you for that deep dive. The reason why I watched One Fine Day in the middle of my Michelle Pfeiffer obsession tour, when the post, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, please get on board. Wait. Play some fucking music, asshole. Play some music when you say such things. Welcome back, everybody, to the Michelle Pfeiffer movie Catwoman tour. This is when you go out and watch every Michelle Pfeiffer movie you can, because Catwoman was that attractive. Oh yes. That was my Michelle Pfeiffer tour. You know, I went out and watched Wolf with her and Jack Nicholson and James Spader, which was an underrated little movie there. And so many. And then eventually led me to One Fine Day. Dangerous Minds, there's another one. And Married to the Mob, great one. But Matthew Modine's in that movie too. That's an underrated movie. I like Married to the Mob, and Michelle Pfeiffer is excellent as an actress in that movie too. It's a kind of a funny movie, and you get the dude from Dean Stockwell, I believe, from Quantum Leap. From Quantum Leap, playing a mafia boss in that, which is it's a very funny movie and well done. Married to the Mob. I think it's one of those movies that kind of gets lost in the mix over time. Okay, so back a little bit more on Bates Motel before we move to the next topic. And as I said, in these roundabouts, it's roundabout. I'm around about the subject. I'm not like kicking into the subject. I'm not doing a deep down breakdown of season 1 of Bates Motel. It is enough to make me want to watch season 2. I had a lot of fun watching the show. It's a lot of adventure, a lot of excitement. I don't love all the casting decisions all the way, but Norman, for the most part, is fine for me. Max, is that his name or something? But I definitely like the actor that plays Dylan, and I think he adds a lot to the show, and his side story centers the two of them really well and gives you that projecting yourself in the moment kind of feeling about it, where say you're watching a television show where you see two crazy fucking people that are just, these people are fucking, pun intended, psycho, okay? And Norma and Norman have serious issues. And you notice right from the beginning, because of obvious things that happen, again, I'm not spoiling, that these people are fucked in the head in some ways, right? And have this weird sort of relationship, this weird symbiotic kind of thing that's really not good. Well, symbiotic, I guess, is good. Parasitic relationship that's not good. And you see it through the brother's eyes a lot of times. Like when he shows up and sees everything that's going on, you see things through the brother's eyes, which is really interesting. Then you have some side characters, like the two girls that are involved in the show. Norman's two girlfriends that are involved. One is exceptionally funny. The girl with the breathing tube stuff, she's great. She's a great television character. Very unique, very funny, very television, but very good. The other girl, she's okay. She's playing a type, and I'm not a huge fan of hers, but she gets away with it. What I was saying before I went on a ridiculous rant about my stupid joke, and I couldn't get that out of my head, was I don't mind shows being ridiculous if they establish that as what the show is. Again, back to the jumping the shark thing. I don't mind if you can jump 1,000 sharks. If in episode 1 you're jumping sharks. Sharknado is a good example of that. Like who gives a fuck? You can't get too stupid in a Sharknado movie because it's as stupid as you get. It's stupid times 1,000, so it's every movie's stupid. You're like, when you sit down to watch that movie, you know what kind of fucking movie you're watching. So Bates Motel, when it starts off, sets the scene as this is a fucked up world. This is a fucked up town. That crazy shit is going to happen in this town. And at first, you feel, because Norma can come off sometimes, especially towards the beginning, as someone that could be a real person. I relate to Norma. I'm Norma sometimes. I have these rage moments. The other day, I went to a doctor's appointment, and I went up to the counter. This isn't a joke. This is true. Went up to the counter. They had 3 windows, okay? 3 windows to go up to, and I'm sitting up there waiting to be called. You know, you sit up at that moment where there's like, stand here, wait to come to the next person. So I'm standing there, waiting to come to the next person. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. No one's looking up to me. Like, seriously, no fucking person is looking up at me, looking in my eye. They're purposely not making eye contact with me, right? So I decide, fuck it. Windows aren't closed. I'm walking up. Walk up to the window. Go, excuse me, hi. I'm checking in for a 12 p.m. appointment. And this woman goes like this. And like points to the woman next to me. So I go, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. She goes, you should have waited. Like something to that effect. She snapped at me, you should have waited. And I go, okay, I'm the fuck out of here. You know, I was like, I'm out of here. I didn't say fuck, I just go, I'm out of here. And I turned around and she started laughing at me. And I came back, you laughed at me? I was so pissed off. I was like, you're laughing at me? And then I like called and I was like, trying to explain what happened. And then they're like, well, actually, they were laughing at someone else. And I just like, I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. And it wasn't even one of the secretaries that called me. It was like somebody else that called me. Anyways, long story short, I'm a psycho, okay? So I can relate to Norma Bates. And I freak out about stupid things. Someone dares cut me in line at the supermarket. You know, again, I say this a lot. You know that line where you stand in one line and then there's two cashiers that are working, you wait in the one spot, it's like, next person, come down to 1. And then inevitably you'll get 1 or 2 people that try to sneak past that line and act dummy the dunce. Go,
I don't know any better. Oh, is this where I put my food down?
I will be such a prick to that person. I'll cut it. I'll shut that shit down right now. And I'll shut that shit down right now. I'm such a psycho dick. And I'll make myself out to be an asshole 9 times out of 10 to prove a point. And I don't care. And it gets me fucked up. I probably don't have as many close people in my life because no, that's not true. I have a lot of close people in my life. I probably don't have as many casual acquaintances, or I don't go out as much. A lot of times I spend in my house alone. A lot of my days, even when I have shit to do, I'm kind of socially awkward, and I'm not socially awkward because I don't like people. Anyone that's ever met me, and there's some people out there that might be listening to this that actually have met me. I'm goofy. I like people. I'm a people person. But I'm also afraid I'm going to freak out on people all the fucking time. And I'm also, when I talk to other people, are constantly fighting back the urge to talk all the time and to just control conversations and babble and babble and babble. I don't want to hear what you have to say, really. You know, I'm having to project those kind of feelings inside me. I'm like, I just want to talk. I can assess all the meaning from my eyes from looking at you. So I'm fucking psycho. So I can relate to Norma Bates. And I felt like at first I'm watching the show, I'm watching a representation of a real human being. And like, oh, fuck, this is a real fucking person. But as you see and you learn on in this town, this show creates some interesting dynamics, which is Norman and Norma are fucking crazy, right? Are fucking psychopaths in some ways and have these really interesting urges and interesting tactics and this history that you know or future that you know about them. So you mix that, you got Dylan, who's fairly the normal person in it all, but then you have the town, and you have all the town shit happening that's even at times crazier than Norman or Norma. So it sets you up in a situation where at times in the show, in season 1, excuse me, sorry, I'm having some morning stomach things. At times with Norma and Norman, I just paused it for the, I just turned down the volume for a big burp there. I didn't want to let guys think There we go. Much better. So at times, the craziness in the town is used to make you relate more to Norma and Norman. And I think that's an interesting dynamic in the show when you're dealing with characters that are known later on to ultimately be psychopaths. So let's go into the live motherfucking chat for a second and jump in to see where we go. I remember him in Oh Brother, We're Out There. That is where it's at. Mel, One Fine Day. Thank you, Tom. References of the days. Corey Mitchell. I remember him from Dusk Till Dawn. Great fucking movie from Dusk Till Dawn. I saw that recently. Ultimately, I didn't know anything going in to watch that movie, so it was such a surprise when the switch happens on it to change it into the type of movie it really is when Salma Hayek shows up, so to speak. But great movie. Harvey Keitel is excellent in that movie as well, playing a character he never plays before. This sort of laid-back preacher character. Yeah, really good movie. Very fun watch. And one of George Clooney's best. Really kind of stepped him out of that. Mel, Grease 2, another one on that Michelle Pfeiffer list. Amy says, I did that with Benedict Cumberbatch and was sorely disappointed with the one where he raped a young girl. Batman and Robin movie was the worst. Horrible. But I wonder how much that has to do with Clooney and how much that has to do with Joel Schumacher and studio interference and really ultimately coming back to Tim Burton. And I love Batman Returns for what it was as a Tim Burton Batman movie. But because of how far he pushed that and all the kids' audiences and shit with the Joker, I mean with Danny DeVito, the Penguin eating people's faces and shit like that, and Michelle Pfeiffer being all sexy and everything that was happening in that movie and all the villains, I think the studio, because of how out there that movie was from a Tim Burton standpoint, we eventually got Batman and Robin because the studio wanted to make a commercialized Batman movie where it should have always skated that line in that era and not gone too far down the Batman and Robin route. And if it did go down that far in that route, you should have made it all the way camp, not just half of the way camp. Can't do it that way. Ooh, Scarface, Dangerous Liaisons, another great one. Oh, yeah. With that in your mind, you're playing a junkie or a scammer is a way to cheat your way into becoming a real actor. Old acting teacher of mine, I used to go to acting training. No, I went to college for acting at times. At times, no, I did. Why am I downplaying it? I've went to theater school, and one of my teachers, not all my teachers, one of my teachers isn't a believer in method acting. He was more of a believer in what's it, like the Meisner technique or something like that. but like real method acting. There was some movie where some actor, like Sean Penn, became like a heroin addict to play a heroin addict. I forget what it was, and some kid asked them that in class. Was like, "What do you think of X actor that the actor in the movie Rush started really doing coke or something like that? Whatever. What do you think about that?" And my teacher goes, "Well, it reminds me of what Laurence Olivier said. He should try acting someday." You know, like, that's being. It's not acting. It's for people with lack of imagination. I don't really believe that, but method acting is scary. People that go all the way there and become drug addicts or do things that their characters do. So, in some way, some part of my mind thinks that's an excuse for poor behavior. Like when you watch that Jim Carrey Man in the Moon documentary, no doubt Jim Carrey killed it as Andy Kaufman, and I think, even though I'm not a huge fan of everything about that movie, I think he killed it in the role of Andy Kaufman. That being said, when you see him running around the set pretending to be Andy Kaufman and being like, "Jim's not here, Andy's here," like that sort of stuff, to me, I don't know how much I like that. I don't know about that. Please tell me it's an act. You know, please tell me you go off and you're like, "Okay, I'm done. You know, this is for the camera. You know, this is literally for the camera." But people that like feel that, I mean, who am I? I've taken psychedelic drugs, which kind of do the same thing. It just changes my personality for a second. I bit my lip. This is what happens when I don't have sandwiches or alcohol in the morning. When I do this fucking show, I talk too much and I end up biting my damn lip. Let's keep going. Ooh, Robert Downey Jr., Scarface. Oh, and yeah, I can't forget Michelle Pfeiffer in Scarface. I mean, she's excellent in that movie. I think she isn't quite Michelle Pfeiffer to me in that part. But she is, but that's obviously Michelle Pfeiffer, and she kills it in that role. And she's a very tragic figure, very Ophelia-like in Scarface. I love Scarface. I think Scarface is an excellent movie from beginning to end, one of De Palma's best. Some of the music is dated, but I like it, and it definitely has that sort of feel. It's not my favorite of all of Pacino's roles, and that's not saying much. You can still love a movie. Pacino has so many excellent roles. It's not near the high point of my favorite movies he was in. Roles, maybe. I think Tony Montana, that scene at the end is maybe one of the single best scenes of any movie ever, where everyone attacks his mansion and he does all the coke and he shoots everybody. I think that scene is so fucking iconic. It like carries the memory of the movie, but there's a lot of that movie that kind of drags for me, and some of the music in it I'm not a big fan. If I'm going to Pacino and De Palma, I'm a bigger fan of Carlito's Way. I think you get better acting performances, and it's just a tighter movie in my opinion. But I think Scarface is obviously more iconic, and it's a very iconic movie for many reasons of popping into pop culture. Also, The Godfather, Devil's Advocate. Wanted to jump to Devil's Advocate, but there's just like a billion Pacino roles. I don't even want to go down the list. And I mean, since then they've done some bad roles, but in one of my old bands, we used to have a song called Pacino, De Niro. No, Brando, Pacino, De Niro. Bum, bum, Brando, Pacino, De Niro. It's sort of a acapella song where we just go, we just start talking about all their movies and how at a certain stretch in time, every single one of their movies was a home run. So another one of Pacino's, before I go into Pacino rabbit hole, the most underrated and one of the greatest of all of Pacino's roles ever. I mean, he's been in so much shit and so awesome in so much shit. His best role of all time might be Dick Tracy. And I don't know if people haven't seen Dick Tracy because it's one of those movies of a superhero comic book movie in an era that before the comic book movie craze happened and kind of gets forgotten about in the mix as a Disney movie and gets forgotten about in the mix as a comic book movie. But Dick Tracy is a fun movie from a villain standpoint and just in general a good movie of the era and still generally holds up. And I think Pacino in that movie is as Big Boy is next level awesome. That to me takes every element of what Pacino does great, the funny aspect, the scary aspect, and the unique character creation aspect, and completely fucks together to birth an amazing child. So there's not much else I can say about Bates Motel, just to turn this back in one more time. I can generally recommend season 1 of Bates Motel. I think it's a fun watch. I think you have interesting enough characters. The show is silly in the best way if you drink the Kool-Aid and you ride the ride too. If you're not, if you're watching 5 minutes of the show and you're like, I can't feel this crap at all, or you can't, or an actor twerks you the wrong way, there's nothing I can do to stop that. But if you can get past certain barriers, i.e. the actor not looking like the actor being another actor playing an iconic role, some of the silliness that goes on in the show, and some of the over-the-top nature of it, it's a fun, smiley watch that isn't going to make you think too much and going to make you kind of just ride the roller coaster ride and enjoy it. So overall, season 1 of Bates Motel, I'm going to give 6.5, 7 side buttholes. Lots of love to Devin. Side buttholes all over the place. I mean, I don't think it's exceptionally amazing. I also don't think it's bad. I think it's worth watching and fun, especially if you're a fan of the Psycho series. It doesn't destroy it, and it definitely fills you with more. It does what a prequel should do, even though it's a prequel set in a different era, reimagination. The character of Norma Bates and the dynamic of the relationship between Norman and Norma is something that wasn't explored enough with the Psycho thing. That foundation. How does Norman Bates become Norman Bates? And I get that this show has a window of time. It almost reminds me of Knights of the Old Republic with Star Wars, where BioWare's like, hey, we want to pick a time where we can do shit. Is there anything we can't do here? Yeah, like it's a safe area where they're not recreating the events of the first movie. Maybe they do that by the end of the series, but in season 1 they don't. And it works for what it's trying to do. I'll have to see if it works continuously with season 2. I am going to watch more of it. Jazmin, thank you so much for that donation, for the super chat donation, and thank you so much for this request. I enjoyed watching the show. So.
It's Timo's Rip of the Night. It's Timo's Rip of the Night. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa.
Now I didn't play this. Lots of love to Timo, of course, the wonderful Timo, who is working very hard right now and hopefully poking on in and listening to some of this stuff at some point. But the wonderful Timo, I want to give you some love. I just needed some music to transition the sections. Okay, let's scroll down, catch up on the live motherfucking chat here. Let's see. Didn't Robert Downey Jr. do something similar? I'm trying to think of a transition at the moment. Now all actors, they hit too fast. Grease 2. Guilty pleasure movies. What's up, Tim? Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
You remember me? I'm Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Phil, shut the fuck up. I feared for my life. Heal that lip, Phil. Heal the lip. Oh, Red Team refuses. Carbide says, for a minute there, Phil didn't have a smile on his face. It scared me. I know. You wouldn't want to see me in real life, Carmine. Carmine made a joke. I was talking to him the other day. He's like, dude, you're like, do you have any serious conversations? Is it possible? I'm paraphrasing. Is it possible to have a serious conversation with you? You're always like, I'm like, dude, you don't want to see the serious. It's depressing as shit.
Hi, guys. You guys, for the very first time, you're going to see the real Philly Issues guy.
Yep.
I'm going to Foxwoods to gamble.
No, I can't even do it. That's not me. That's not me. That being said, I'd love to have one of those acting roles like Robin Williams had in Awakenings, where he just needs to be,
hi, I'm unemotional.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do it. Again, that's like when it's like me having to do a podcast or having to have a discussion with somebody else. It's bullshit, 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 bullshit. My line. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. My line. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. What are they saying? Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. My line. Shut the fuck up, Joe. Shut the fuck up, Phil. And okay. And then people are just like, no, Phil, why don't you just
Shut the fuck up, Pam. Shut the fuck up, Pam. Shut the fuck up, Pam.
I remember Benny Blanco from the fucking Bronx. What's up? Can't believe no one mentioned Heat. Heat, another amazing movie. And one of the few times De Niro and Pacino were together. Also a movie called Righteous Kill, which is an underrated movie, not the best movie in the world. Almost comes off the television movie. It's on Netflix. But if you're a Pacino and De Niro fan, it's definitely some good acting going on here. I believe Brian Dennehy's in it as well. Heat, excellent movie that ultimately, did you know that I was recently watching I mentioned Who's the Boss earlier, but did you know that Tony Danza was originally in line for Michael Sizemore's role in Heat, but ultimately they decided to go with Sizemore instead of Tony Danza? I saw something with Tony Danza where he was talking a lot about how he's had so many almost roles, how you'd be so surprised parts he's almost gotten, and that was one of them. He was this close to being in Heat, which is really weird to think about. Tony Danza's an interesting cat. Like, if you listen to, I watched an E! Hollywood story on Tony Danza the other day. Don't ask me why, but I did, and it was fucking awesome. I think I mentioned, because I was talking to somebody, that when, this is just such a random piece of information, when Tupac was in jail, Tony Danza like wrote him every day and visited him all the time. And I was telling somebody that, and it made me start to think about Tony Danza's a weird guy, not a weird guy, but an interesting guy I want to get to know. And he started off as a boxer, and getting the part in Taxi was really by accident, and his whole career was kind of by accident. And he was also an off the hook kind of guy, that he wasn't always as nice as he seems to be, and had sort of an attitude where he'd snap and get really like, "Urgh." So I don't know. I was very interested in the Tony Danza career arc. What an idiot I am. Puff, puff, pass that shit. Carmine wants to try to piss me off. I'm serious. I want you to fuck me up. What are you in some sort? Is this we in a masochistic, sadomasochistic relationship, Carmine? Can I put you in leathers? Put you over my knee and spank you, motherfucker? Is that what you want? You want to see dark side? You want to see the dark side? You can't handle the dark side. Be careful what you wish for. Look at me. You think I'm wearing hockey pants? Am I wearing hockey pants? I love you, Carmine. What's up, Killmonger? What's up, everybody? Good to see all of you fucks in the live fucking chat. Feels like Seinfeld's with his fans off cam. Get the fuck away from me. Hi. I would say it's more this is the normal me, but if you get me off my track, if you piss me off, I'm one of those people that I'm like, nice, I take it, but I build it all up, and then it just certain days it boils over. I'm more, what's the word? Someone once called me passive aggressive, but then Joe corrected them, and Joe said, Phil, you're not passive aggressive at all. You're aggressive aggressive. Like when I'm mad about something, I'm in your face about it, and I can't hold conversation in. I'm a shit talker more than I'm a angry person, and like I'm intense. Like if someone challenges me, I go, oh yeah, well yeah, it's because you fucked my fucking girlfriend when you were younger, huh? How's that feel? You know, or something to that effect. And then if they, I don't know, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're a fucking asshole. Yeah, no, you fucking did it. You fucking did it, and you're a piece of fucking shit. Yeah. Want me to kick you in your fucking balls and knee you in your ass and fucking shove this knife in your fucking testicle? You fucking piece of shit asshole! You know, shit like that. I can get really scary, okay? So part of the reason why I hold back all of this and I put this smile on my face all the time is because you don't want to see that other guy, Carmine. You know, it's always boiling over. It's always what does the Hulk say in the first Avengers movie? My secret is I'm always angry. Where do you think this talkative shit's fueled by? It's fueled by fucking Psycho. That's vodka, baby. I love melancholy. I want some vodka. Give me some vodka. Sizemore looks like a criminal. He does, and he's had the crazy career after that. It would have been better for Tony Danza's career. Elton John wrote a song, Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. Get on Who's the Boss after Taxi. Lay me down like Angela from Who's the Boss. And then be in that movie, She's All That. No, what was the movie he was in? Where it was about his daughter having sex with guys or something. I don't know. It was like his one big movie role where he played the book. I gotta work. I wish I could wake and bake. I have to do shit later too. I wish I could eat a sandwich in the morning, but this is me. You guys want to see me? No sandwiches, no alcohol, no food, nothing. This is me. It's 9:18. I've been up since 7:45. And I got on here at like 8 o'clock. Oh, no, wait. I got on here, well, however long I've been on here. I've been on here about an hour. Okay, so I've been on here about an hour. So this is me as normal as I get. That's a scary fucking thought, isn't it? I don't know why people shit on Heat. I think it's good. I think people shit on Heat because it's not a very deep movie from an acting standpoint. And when people at the time were expecting De Niro and Pacino to do a movie together, they were expecting it to be some serious acting work. Where I think what's cool about Heat, and I like Heat, is that it's not. It's an action movie. It's one of the best action movies ever made, and has a few really well acted scenes, especially the scene with the two of them in the coffee shop when they meet in the middle, and it's such a good, awesome lead up of the two of them coming together in that scene to talk. And I think there's some other stuff cool in the end, but I think it's much more of an action movie than anything else. Ho hi. So I feel so weird that I'm doing this whole thing with your Hungry Joy's picture on the screen. Because I've been too busy the last couple of days to make more overlays. I need to get one that's just the show that doesn't have anyone's picture there, so I'm not running into... Someone's going to be watching this later and go, why is he got a picture of Euron right there? Because I got to take a pee. That's why. Cannonball Run 2. I'm just curious, both you and Preston never show your angry side. I want to see it. I want to see it. I'd be very curious to see Preston's angry side, too. He seems like such a laid back... He seems like nothing could make him angry. Like, he's just so, yeah, whatever. Like, Preston, I fucked your wife and I punched your mother in the balls and your mother has balls and I killed your dog and all your theories suck and blah, blah. He'd be like, okay. Yeah, whatever. Ho hum. Okay. He'd be like the dude. That's like your opinion, dude. You know, it's just, I mean, that's how I am. Okay, cool. I have to like really... I don't want to tell you, Carmine. You're too sick of a fuck. I don't want to tell you how to piss you off because you're gonna like. I'm like, this is how you piss me off, everybody. Let me give you guys the keys to the car and run the shit off the road. Lola, great to see Lola. Is that what Elton John wrote? Hold me closer, Tony Danza. Yup. Death to Ming. Hello, Lola. Oh, my goodness. This is an intense morning stream. Thank you. Should I do more morning streams, Amy? Should I come out here like more often in the mornings and make it more ridiculously silly? Because it seems to be in the mornings when I go off, I want to talk more personal and talk about my personal stuff. So this is a stream. I got to get into Glow. I got to get into Glow and Luke Cage season 2 here, because before I know it, I'm just going to be talking about my life here, and this could turn into an issues program, not a roundup. But let me go. Hello, Tom. Debbie does Dallas. Debbie does Dieseldorf is like my favorite of those whole series. The Debbie Does movies. I think they're underrated movies in the way that, what does Debbie do? I mean, Debbie's traveling around the countryside, looking out on the morning sun. I used to feel so inspired. When a girl did another day. What did you think? What did you think? Okay, stop. Debbie's friends worked her asses off to get her to Dallas. Let's leave Debbie alone here, Jordy. Pacino and De Niro don't like each other. That dinner scene was shot separately. Interesting information, Paul Q. That's fucking great. Don't worry, I'll spark one up for you. Tom, fuck you, dude. Fuck Tom. Listen, everyone turn off the stream for a second. I got something to say to Tom. Tom, you little son of a fuck. Fucking threatening me, telling me what I can't do. Why didn't it play? Tom? Okay, that's it. That wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be, but it still fucking worked. Fuckers. I'm rewatching Sons. I'm in season 5. Cool. I'm very excited to watch the Mayan series. What was I doing in my head there? It's funny, when I used to do my radio show, there was no camera. So a lot of times I'd be doing my show, I'd be like this. I'd be like, ow, I just hit myself in the head. Ow, you fuck. Ow, that hurt. That fucking hurt. Anyway, fuck. Ow. I just did it again. Oh, fuck. I'm such an idiot. I hurt myself. I hit myself in the head. Then I just went to go punch my fist together, and instead I hit my ring. I hit my pinky against my ring. The fuck? See, this is why I play bongo drums. Much better. Ow, my fucking pinky. My pinky hurts worse than my face. My pride hurts worse than that. I am the clumsiest fuck that ever fucked the clumsy. Yeah, that's what I am. Clumsiest fuck that ever fucked the clumsy. But I am excited about the Mayan series. It should be cool to get Kurt Sutter back. Welcome back to where you belong, motherfucker. Wow, I didn't know Phil does such early morning streams. Apulia, I want to say this is only the second time I've ever done something like this since I've been doing the podcasts. So it's not often, but I am always up in the mornings. I pretty much am up every morning at 7:30 in the morning, and then I usually sit in bed for a couple of hours before I have to start my day around 10. And then by that point, it's 10:30. By that point, I'm like, I got too much shit to do. I'll podcast at night, and a lot of times I want to do it, but shit just doesn't come together. And by night, I've eaten so many sandwiches, I don't want to come out here tonight. I start turning to John Wayne. Well, is that a dagger I see before me? Whose joke is that? Is that a Robin Williams joke? Where he goes, I imagine John Wayne doing Shakespeare. Is that a dagger I see before me? I can't do it. But I'm gonna try to come out here because this is fun. I'm having a good time here. So, but what I was saying before, like when I used to do my show on the radio show, I would do things like this. I'd be like talk like, "Hi everybody, welcome to the radio show. Hi, yeah, me and the microphone are gonna have a little fun. Yeah." What's that voice? Hey everybody, yeah. Come on, sit on Uncle Phil's ketchup couch. Welcome 91.7 WZLX here with all the radio hits. Where's my microphone going? It's disappearing. And even the first year I did live streams or podcasts when I was on Ustream, and then would upload the videos to YouTube on the other server, on the other channel. And even the first thing I did on this channel on the Breaking Bad streams, I wasn't on camera. So I wasn't like aware of this goofy shit I like to do when I talk sometimes, like throwing my arms around, moving around, always bobbing and weaving and shit. So it's still silly to me that I look out of the corner of my eye. When I look over here, that's me looking at myself going, oh, you look like an idiot right now. So I try to look here. But anytime you see me look this is I'm looking at myself going, oh, you're stop it. I don't want to look at that. Hey. So I don't know what my point of saying all of that was. I was thinking that I do weird things with my hands, and I used to be able to hide them, but I can't hide them anymore. I guess that's what, I guess my point is that this is a visual show now. Welcome to the visual fucking show. Yes, it's awesome. Phil's issues go well with coffee. Oh, cool. Awesome. See, ultimately, I can't lie. I'm nothing like this person and nothing like the stuff, but my main initial influences in radio or in babbling come from talk radio and come from morning talk radio, whether it be local Boston stuff or, I'm not, again, nothing like it, but obviously influenced by it, because anyone who talks on a microphone and is honest to a certain extent can't not be influenced by early Stern and Stern just in general in the Stern Show. I mean, again, this is I'd say my old radio show was more on the radio show when I did it on the college radio station. I was doing at first a wannabe Fraser Crane thing, and then I kind of shifted it over, had this whole group of people that would come into the show and create this weird sort of environment. Like I wanted to be that, but it's hard not to be influenced in what you do as a podcaster and as a radio host and not be influenced by what he's done for fucking a million years with that show. And even in the dark ages of it, made it consistently entertaining and consistently doing what he does. You can talk about the show now and where the show's at now and that Turk woman that's destroyed his show and all that sort of crap. You can get into all of that. But I think him as a host, he's still one of the best single hosts ever on as a talk show host in a this kind of forum. And if people of this generation that try to podcast and try to do all this sort of shit, even though he has no respect for podcasts, is a generation of people that were influenced by him and are trying to be as off the cuff and awesome and themselves as possible, instead of that, hi everybody, welcome to the radio show. Blah. I mean, there's a whole generation of people. He created a whole generation of radio, and to ignore that because of the last couple of years post-Artie section of the show, it's hard to I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fucking Stern for some reason, but because I don't mention him often, but he's definitely a huge influence on my goofosity. You'd fucking anyways. I'm going to be talking about Luke Cage. How do you guys feel about actors basically playing themselves in every movie? It's hard because there's a fine line between when an actor is cast as a role and plays a role as a certain way and then becomes iconic for that role, and then people want them to play that role again, so it just kind of perpetuates itself. It gives you even more respect for someone like Gary Oldman, who I saw mentioned earlier, playing so many different kinds of roles in different moments. Gives a new meaning to Debbie's going downer. John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving Pilgrim. Thank you. Punisher, shut the fuck up. Kind of like a Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al, my daddy. Daddy Weird Al. I still love O&A. Yeah. I mean, another great fucking pair. I'd say Taka on the channel was always more of a fan of them than me, but I think they're fucking, they're very good at what they do. Let me go. Scroll down. Tom Cruise, always playing the cocky young guy. So let's get into our next couple of shows that we're talking about here. Let's transition this into our next one. Now we're going to talk about... Gary Oldman versus Chris Pratt, who essentially plays Star-Lord in every movie he's in. Couldn't stand Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, and that's the problem, too. Carmine makes an excellent point. When you get an actor like that, the first time they do it, it's very entertaining. And then they keep doing that same thing over and over in the same movies. It becomes infuriating to the point where you just can't deal with that actor anymore. And I think that's why, Carmine, excellent point, because I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem with... It's so hot in this room right now. I can't even begin to tell you guys how, as the sun kicks in. That's the problem with, I think, comic actor movie vehicles, and why it's never long-term, or it's very rarely long-term, unless you're someone like Woody Allen. And I'm not talking about Woody Allen's baggage. I'm talking about him as a movie creator. Now, I just mean, like, you say someone like Will Ferrell or something, or Jim Carrey, or whoever, Eddie Murphy at a point in time. The guy who is the comic movie Melissa McCarthy for a moment or something. The person that is the comic thing of that moment. And then they suddenly come out with like 15 comedic movies that they're playing that same character, that same fucking type in. And the movie's a little different, but it's basically the same. It's once you got Rush Hour, let's put Jackie Chan in the tuxedo. Let's put Jackie Chan in this. And I know Jackie Chan's a bad example because he has so many amazing movies back when he was in Hong Kong. But I mean the American Jackie Chan career trajectory. Like Rush Hour, oh, we got to put him in more buddy comedies. Let's put him in that Western movie with Owen Wilson. Let's put him in Shanghai Noon. Is that what it was called? Let's put him in this with that. Like, we know it's a pair. And then it's by the end. So it's not just comedy movie people too, but I think that's a big problem with the reason why those type of characters run so quickly. They just, it's like a quick flame that burns out. You're so used to it. You're like, okay, what's next? And it's just, you can only find someone funny or captivating for so long. And I think it's even more so in comedy, like with someone like, oh, I got turned up really loud there. Like with Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. Star-Lord's funny it's Star-Lord in those moments he has. Like, I thought comedically he was one of the best parts of the Avengers movie, with some of his dialogue was just very snappy and good. You see him in Jurassic World, it's just like, okay, I get it. I get it. Next thing you know, he's Sinbad in Jingle All the Way or something. I think action movies are probably similar too, the way that being an action movie star has a certain shelf life, so to speak. Vince Vaughn is the same guy usually and I don't like when he tries not to be. We're talking about. Wait. Stop the podcast. We're talking about. Stop. Wait. Okay, stop the podcast. We're talking about Psycho, and the times when Vince Vaughn tries to act. Does anyone remember that ridiculous Psycho with him trying to play Norman Bates? Oh, God. But then that's the other side of that, and probably why actors don't do that more, is that you get someone like Vince Vaughn who tried to play outside of norm, tried to be, stretch that character. You need to do it soon enough that you don't get locked into it. There's a line. You cannot go any further past this certain point as this character. Otherwise, you'll always be known as this character. It's one of the weirdest things in entertainment, one of the more interesting things to watch. How long can an actor play a character before they're so known for that character they can't be anything else? And then is it possible to break those norms? It's the thing that almost every television kid actor has to deal with growing up. Can they make that transition to be a successful children's actor and a successful adult actor? Very few actually make that transition unscathed. Or if they do, it's slightly different way that they make it. Very rarely is someone huge as a kid and then huge as an adult as well. Okay. Red Team Review. Red Team Review. I know how actors want you to think they want to challenge themselves, play in different parts, but when you get paid to act like yourself, I mean, that's like a dream job. Okay. So talk a little bit about Glow Season 2. Again, these are going to be a lot quicker. That's why I'm just babbling all over the place. These two reviews of Luke Cage and Glow are going to be legit, I'm going to try to sum this up as quickly as I possibly can without getting into specifics. And I'm going to review a 15-minute video for 3 hours. So I'm going to try to review a very quick series here, very, very, very succinctly. Glow Season 2 builds on what Season 1 does. It's not quite as funny as Season 1, which is much more of a direction towards comedy. They take some elements of those comedies, some of those characters that you learned and started to care about, and they add a little drama in the mix. Not heavy-handed melodrama, real legit concerns and moments that might have from the growing of this particular thing in the era that they live in. I think there's less focus on the nostalgia of the 80s in this season than there is in Season 1, and I think that is good. And I think it's much more focused on learning and getting to know the different characters. But unlike another Jenny Cohen show like Orange is the New Black, which in seasons past the first one failed to capture what was awesome about Season 1 and tried to make Orange is the New Black a deeper show. And I will say the same thing about fucking Weeds too. I love Weeds all the way through, a lot more than a lot of people do. But I think Weeds became the antithesis of what it actually was. A funny, laid-back show about weed. And I think Orange is the New Black, another one that became too serious and too focused and too much of a pulpit for, deeper things that they were trying to say. And I appreciate that in shows that do that well. But what made Orange is the New Black click with people, for me anyways, what made Orange is the New Black click with me was its comedy in that first season. The interesting dynamics of the different characters and getting to know each one of those different characters and seeing the comedy that in the seriousness and elements of seriousness that brought them into this world. I feel like Glow consistently keeps that going in Season 1. There's some points that get very serious and get very emotional. And Allison Brie, fuck me, dude. Can someone introduce me? Can I go on a date with Allison? I have the biggest actor crush on her. She kills it in this season, and she is always having fun, always amazing energy. People talk about me all over the place. Allison Brie is inspiring to someone like me, that she manages to kind of dial it in when she needs to and use it when she has to. And she always does play certain kind of similar character traits in all of her roles, but they're very captivating. And I also think in her role in Mad Men, she kind of toned that down so much. And it's great to show how she has that gear, that she doesn't always have to be over the top silly. But this seems similar to the character that in the movie it seems to be the perfect vehicle for her. This comes from someone that hasn't watched a ton of Community. I do know she's basically kills it on that show as well for people that enjoy that. But so this and Mad Men are my first exposure to Alison Brie, and she's amazing in it. But what's really good about this season is instead of just focusing on those main characters, Bash, Mark Maron's character, Debbie, and Alison Brie's character, Ruth, you get a much more wider angle lens of this series. They take time to get you to know each individual character that you care about, and everyone has a moment. Like everyone, even Beirut has a moment where she's sharing cookies with Mark Maron's character and Sam, and they have a connective tissue kind of moment. Mark Maron, talking about podcasting, talking about fucking people, comedians, Mark Maron consistently is awesome as Mark Maron. People talk about actors playing themselves. I don't mind if they're not a real actor. Mark Maron, admittedly to himself, is not an actor. He is playing himself, playing this part. And seeing him, listening to his podcast, knowing the way Mark Maron's mind works, seeing him do some of those Sam shit, you almost feel like he's dialing back to the old him at times and using parts of his own personality and own adventures. What bad can I say about season 2 of Glow? Not much. I'm not going to say it's a perfect show, but it is for me, a very good second season to the first show. It logically goes where season 1 leads you. It doesn't try to recreate the wheel too much. It keeps the same theme or feel of the original season, but expands it and makes you care a little bit more about these characters and progresses the story along. It's very fast-paced. It's probably one of my favorite bingeable shows because it really encourages that binge watch, and it's a very easy, quick, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay watch. The second to last episode is surreally funny, too. I love shit like that. It's almost a Terrence and Phillip kind of episode that is outside the norm of the story. I'll spoil it. They give you an episode of Glow, essentially. They give you the show that they're producing, and instead of it being an episode about shit going on, you're watching it like you're watching the TV show. And I think that's a really good decision and creates a different kind of feel to it. Is it a show for everybody? No. Should you like wrestling? I think so. And that's the last thing about it. Maybe not the last, but that's the main last thing I want to say. Glow Season 2 cares a lot more about wrestling than Season 1 did. Season 1, wrestling is a very little part of it. You only get a couple of moments where there's some visions where you see some events of wrestling, and you get a couple of moments towards the end of the movie, towards the end of the season. Season 2 is all about wrestling. It has a lot more actual action wrestling going on, a lot more focus on what it means to be a wrestler of that age, and a lot more aspects of the television thing on what it's like to be on TV at that time. What are the weaknesses of the season? As I mentioned, not many. A couple characters I maybe would have wanted to know more that had a little bit more focus in season 1. Carmen being one of them. Carmen has one of the best lines in the whole thing towards the end when she's figuring everything out about what happens. I'm so high. This is still a great idea. I'm so high. I like that actress, and I think she does a good job in that role. I like everything they did with Cherry this season, too. I thought that was a cool little touch. And it's just well represented of how I imagine 80s Hollywood vibe is kind of like. And I like where the show's going into season 3 as well, to one of my favorite places in the world. So it's going to be cool to see. And I think the best decision they ever made for this Glow series is deciding it not to be what would be the word? Not to be accurate, because it is not to be a one-for-one for characters, to create unique characters, to be inspired by real events, not be a dictation of real events. Who wins? Danielson versus Bruce Leroy. Danielson always. He always wins. Is it his movie, Miss Sean? Is it? If it's Danielson, Mr. Sean, sorry. I said Miss. Mr. Sean. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Yes, dogs. It's a television show on Netflix that is fictitious, inspired by story. Inspirational. It's not inspirational. Inspired story about the creation of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Ultimately, these show creators saw a documentary that's also on Netflix, and they were inspired to create this show. Let's go. Norman Bates is the best. Do I need to know any wrestling references to get the jokes? No. But you have to be wrestling flexible. There's maybe a couple of lines here and there you won't get, but I don't think you'll get all. I don't think you'll miss getting any jokes. I think you'd find the show generally funny, Tom. I see, Tom, you're a tough animal. We got Tom in the live motherfucking chat right now. I don't want to tell Tom you're going to like it, because tell you, Tom, you're going to like it, because that's one of the surefire ways to make you not like it. I think you'll think it's all right. I think you're really going to like the character Mark Maron plays. I think Sam Silvio is a character you'll enjoy. And I think season 1 will bite you the right way that you'll be interested in season 2. So I guess that's my point. If you like season 1, definitely watch season 2. If you haven't watched Glow yet, I feel like it's one of those underrated shows on Netflix that you could catch up on and watch. And it's very quick and not very deep. There's not a lot of depth going on here, right? There's a couple moments with Ruth and Debbie that you deal with some deep shit. But it's not even super deep. It's just relatable if you're an artist. And you're relatable as someone like me, for instance, that, you can relate to the way Ruth feels at the end there. And in the sense of, you have to do something. And I'm not like, oh, breathe in, breathe out. I know I have to sit in front of a microphone and talk. This is what I'm supposed to do. I haven't been able to find that job yet. That is perfect for me. I'm doing this myself, and I'm lucky enough to have you awesome patrons, and lucky enough to have Super Chat donators to help me pay my bills to not live in the fucking poorhouse. But is it a career? No. Do I have a career? No, I have like 7 jobs. Would I love if someone got, hey, dude, you want a radio show, on Sirius XM or something? I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, fuck this issues program. I'd run. If someone offered me a co-hosting job, sorry, everybody. I'd be doing that in a second. But you deal with a lot of that with Ruth, who's an actress that can't find that right thing for her. She knows she has a talent. She knows she has something to do. She just doesn't find the right vehicle. So I think if you're dealing with anything depth-wise, it's finding your right vehicle for your talents in life. But I don't think that's a very deep thing. And I think the show deals much more with surface kind of feelings. Tom says, it sucks. I can never fucking comment on a show. I haven't finished Stranger Things. How do you guys do it to make it all the way through? Try Cobra Kai. Yeah. Cobra Kai. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai, Tom, that's definitely towards the top of the list. Okay. So ultimately, Glow season 2. Now, I can only, when it comes to rankings of shows, I'm ranking it based comparatively to this other season, just as a whole. I would say Glow season 2, if season 1 for me was a 9 out of 10, I would say season 2 is right there, right on point in its own way as another 9 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10. I might have liked season 1 a little bit better, but season 2 might be a little bit better, if that makes sense. I think season 2 covers its bases. You can tell that the actresses and the creative team all know what they're doing better. But I still think there's some dialogue and some funny aspects of Mark Maron's character in season 1 that I find a little bit funnier than season 2. There's a couple of new characters I'm not the biggest fan of. The camera guys I don't really like. The mustache camera guy that ends up getting with Ruth, fuck him. I'm jealous. So, yeah. That is Glow season 2. And there's not so much more I can say about that. And let's go to our next thing.
Dick on, Dick on, Dick on. Dick on, Dick on, Dick on.
Okay, so for the last topic of the day, I'm going to be talking again, probably even more briefly, about Luke Cage Season 2 because it's been longer since I've seen it. So, Luke Cage Season 2, continuing along the lines of the Marvel Netflix series. Joe and I will try to talk about this at some point in time in a catch-up stream to, not like a Uncle Phil's catch-up couch stream, in a catch-up stream to talk about some stuff that Joe finally ends up watching. So, in a more of a spoiler breakdown on this, but I did want to make sure I talk about it just in case that doesn't happen for a long time. So, Luke Cage Season 2 is has some really big highs. I think the high points for Luke Cage season 2 are really well done. It's not my favorite of all of the Marvel Netflix series. I would not put it towards the top of my list. Couple reasons. Not because of Michael Coulter. I think Michael Coulter kills it in that role. I think he owns it even more in this season than in The Defenders, than in Luke Cage season 1. I think he is Luke Cage. And I know that's an overstated statement, but he really owns this role. And I fucking love how this season ends. I love it. Love how the fucking season ends. I do think it drags a little bit in the beginning. And I think Mariah was exceptionally awesome this season. And I think everything to do with Mariah's character and her rise and fall was really well done. I don't know why I didn't love it. It's hard to explain. I like our villain. I like our new characters that are introduced to talk around it. Maybe I don't necessarily... I don't even know what it is exactly. I feel like it seemed a little looser than it needed to be. And I don't know if it's a victim of these seasons having to be 13 episodes, so they have to spread it out the correct amount of time. But I feel like if Luke Cage season was 10 episodes, it would have been one of the best of the Netflix seasons. But I feel like the 13 episodes dragged a little bit at times. There were a couple of moments in certain episodes that it wasn't as snappy of what I wanted it to be, if that makes sense. And who the fuck am I? But the foundation of this shit comes down to Daredevil to me. And that first season of Daredevil was so fucking snappy. And I don't know. Maybe I think there was a lot of really good shit that happened in this season. I don't think maybe it was spoiler alert, minus spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled on Luke Cage season 2, now is the time to get off this train for a few seconds. Here you go. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck Danny Rand. Seriously. Fuck Danny Rand. Fuck him. Fuck that asshole. Get the fuck off my screen. I don't want to see Danny Rand anymore. He takes me out of it. The show was good till Danny Rand showed up. You didn't need that episode. You didn't need that. That was an unnecessary episode. Get Loris Tyrell off my fucking screen. I don't want to see Loris anymore. I don't want you to ruin my Luke Cage. Eat a shit. But I like the concept of Luke Cage season 2, where you ultimately had someone that's an opposing force, someone that is a adversary, is the enemy of your enemy, your friend. I love dealing with that aspect of it. And I think the season in general dealt with some elements of superhero stories that don't often get dealt with. And I think have that moment that Joe often asks for, that you get with Jessica season 2, sort of that moment where something big happens and you have to explain it, and it holds no chill. So I think I like the chances season 2 of Luke Cage took, and I like generally where the story went. I feel like there was just too much shit on the page, and they needed to tighten it up a little bit. That's just my opinion. Someone else could have a completely different opinion about that and think it was perfect. But maybe part of it is my fatigue with anything superhero-oriented at the moment, but I don't think so, because I love these series, and I love a lot of different aspects of it. The whole Claire section of the beginning half of the season, I think you could have maybe gone without, considering where things end. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It's fun. It's better than Iron Fist. It's probably better than the Defenders as a whole, even though I like the Defenders more than some. But Defenders is Iron Fist season 2. Not as good as Luke Cage season 1 for me. If I was making the list again right now, I would say Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones season 1, Punisher, Daredevil season 2, Jessica Jones season 2, Luke Cage, The Defenders, Luke Cage 2, Iron Fist. So that would probably be my ranking order of all the series at this point. This comes in more towards the lower end of my list, but I still enjoyed it, still liked watching it from beginning to end, and it's still fun. I thought the action was very much improved this season. I think that is a credit to the villain that you had, and I think Luke Cage's The fighting scenes just looked a lot better and a lot crisper than they did in season 1. Let's go into the live motherfucking chat. Tim Gersh says Punisher or nothing. I blame the weed. I kind of guy who would watch 7 episodes in a row the next day and caught up in something just to binge it in the back burner. Too much terrible acting, too much dialogue, lost in space. Well, normal for Marvel heroes to fight someone. That's pretty much. Tim says, no, Iron Fist is great. I'm officially not taking any more of Tim Gersh's comments in the live chat today because of that. Tim Gersh. Tim, you're on timeout. Don't say things like Iron Fist is great in my live chat. I might have to block you. If I blocked you, it'd be I'd unblock you because you're awesome. This is just jokes. These are the jokes, Tim. Tim! Get him up against the wall. There's no Iron Fist likers allowed in this live stream. Luke Cage, there are some R-rating moments in it, but I think that's part of the twinge to A Great Christmas or whatever. You also get Martin Querns in this. Speaking of Oz, I'm just bringing up Oz randomly, playing Luke Cage's dad, and I think he's a really fun role. I think there's a certain section towards the beginning when all of our characters sort of need to, or is it the middle point, where all of our characters need to get together and do something together that I think is one of the highlight points of the season. It's very fun, it's very unique, and creates an interesting dynamic. And the character of Mariah, she's the highlight of the entire season. She is the one that steals every scene she's in. She's awesome. She's eating up scenery in the best possible way. The actress is just performing at a different gear. And I think it's worth mentioning how incredibly, crazily awesome she is in this role. Juicy boy. Juicy boy. Sorry, that was my Chibs impression. Oh, God. Shades. I know I'm supposed to like Shades. I know I'm a Sons of Anarchy fan. I don't love Shades. Shades is one of the negative points for this season. I find his character kind of silly at times and kind of inconsistent. And I feel like that's because of the acting choices. I don't feel like that's because of the way that the writer is being written. I feel like that's the way he's either being directed or his choices that he's making for the role doesn't always hit home with me. And I don't know if it's because of the juice factor, not because I drank some juice, because he played a character named Juice on Sons of Anarchy. And I'm kind of like that. If I so focus a character, this is a theme of what we've been talking about today, that if I know an actor as a certain character, it's tough for me to see them as other people. And I'm not saying he is being Juice, but I see Juice in there, and I see him trying not to be Juice. It's hard to explain. I'm not the biggest fan of Shades, and I think he takes me out of it a lot. All in all, as I said, if I'm making comparisons, if I'm ranking Luke Cage against the other Netflix series, I would say that this is a 5.5, 6 out of 10 side buttholes. Not horrible, not bad, a average watch, but not next level awesome must-watch television in the ways that I would say some of the other Marvel Netflix series are. For me, personally. It's not, gotta watch this, like the way that Punisher, you have to watch this. Daredevil Season 2, you have to watch it for the scene with Wilson Fisk and the Daredevil in prison. And how are we not having another Wilson Fisk sighting in season? I know he doesn't make sense in Luke Cage, but now we're how many seasons in on this, and we need more Kingpin. That's all I care about right now, okay? Is in the whatever the next one of these seasons are, that Kingpin is the main villain again. We need him. 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 He is the most important part of this universe. All shit being said, all shit aside, all stories aside, all Jessica, Matt, fuck all of you motherfuckers. Kingpin is in the Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin is the most important aspect of this universe. Get him the fuck back on my screen somehow. So that's Luke Cage. Can't say bad things about it, but it wasn't as enjoyable for me as I wanted it to be. Glow, really fun, consistently, still as fun as last season, different, a little bit more serious. And Bates Motel Season 1. Thank you, Jazmin Walking Dead, for that amazing Super Chat donation to inspire this review or to request this review. Bates Motel Season 1, I had a good time watching it. I can't speak for the rest of the series if someone's like, yeah, Season 2 sucks. Sorry, Phil. Season 1 was a lot of fun and a good shut your brain off kind of entertainment. So we're done. That's it. Show's over. We don't know. We need more cowbell. It's like I'm a trill that's finally reached the end of my life, and my symbiote inside of me needs to be implanted into another body. What do you think about Marvel? Let's take a couple of questions. And who else thinks Punisher Season 2 will cross over with Luke Cage? That could be very interesting, Tim Gersh. No, Phil. How Bakito really, it just turns people super evil. Oz reference, check. Lost reference, check. Now we need a Deep Space Nine reference. Check. Trill reference, check. She's terrible. I need Joe's thoughts on Season 2 of Luke Cage so far. Joe's thought so far, I got them, is he's tried to watch the first few episodes and he's fallen asleep. And he's bored by it and doesn't want to watch it anymore. So he said, eventually I'll watch it, but I'm bored right now and don't want to watch it. Joe's at a point right now in his year entertainment watching that he goes in sometimes where everything's annoying him right now, where he's having trouble finding anything he likes, whether it be television or video games. He can't find a game he wants to play right now, and anything he's watched that people tell him to watch has been shit. So we'll see if Joe likes Better Call Saul coming in August. And Joe goes through these phases where he's like, shit. We definitely need more cowbell. Is the same Kingpin from Spider-Man? Does he look anything like the 90s cartoon character? A lot like the 90s cartoon character. And almost identical. And especially when they get into how strong that he can fight and stuff. I think Vincent D'Onofrio. We do get a Kingpin in the Daredevil movie as well. In the Ben Affleck movie. But that wasn't really Kingpin. Like, Kingpin is what you see in Daredevil Season 1. And really, the Kingpin I know is from the Batman 90s cartoon. To me, you can't do Marvel without Kingpin. And it's one of those characters that I'm surprised hasn't been in the movies yet. I don't know how you do him justice, and who do you do him with? I guess you do him in a Spider-Man movie, right? Like, if you had to pick a Marvel movie to do Kingpin in, it would have to be Spider-Man, right? Wouldn't it? Or I guess you could make him the villain in an Avengers movie. No, I mean, you could make him a culpable element in an Avengers movie. But I don't think you could make him like the main adversary. But I think you could in a localized movie, maybe an Iron Man movie even. He would have been a good villain in an Iron Man movie. You know, we've had the 3 Iron Man movies. I think the first one was really good. I think I like the third one a lot. I know it's not for everybody. I think the second one is shit. But I think in all 3 Iron Man movies, you had a lack of a good villain. And I think if you set up somebody that's as rich as, and I know you do that a little bit in Iron Man 3, but even more in a more serious way, you have the Kingpin as someone who could challenge Tony Stark every step of the way because of his control and his power. So I think the Kingpin would be a good enemy for Stark. But I think, I don't know, maybe it's too late. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's whatever. But I think if you ever want to do another Iron Man movie and give him a legitimate adversary, I think Kingpin would be a good pick. And I think Vincent D'Onofrio could pull it off as well. Maybe we're done. We're past that point with Stage 3. But I think that Phase 3. But I think he could work in a Spider-Man movie too. But I do think there's a lack of Kingpin in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think it shows when you say there's a lack of good villains in the Marvel Universe. It's, you know, people are with the DC and Marvel people, you know, when the battle goes back and forth, it's like, oh, bam, bam, bam. Well, we got better villains, DC says. And I get that. But the Kingpin's one of the best. He's one of the best comic book villains ever. And you need more of him. More Kingpin. He works well in Daredevil comics. Spider-Man already has a Sinister Six. Excellent point, dog. It would have to be a smaller movie, not the Avengers. Spider-Man 90s cartoon, not Batman. Did I say Batman, Tim? I might have said Batman, but again, this goes to what I was saying earlier. You know what I meant. I stopped at episode 9. I can't go back. And he does work well in Daredevil. I guess if you ever really want to do a Daredevil thing. But you can't really do a Daredevil movie now, and I don't think they should. So maybe he should. Maybe it's just that we haven't seen him enough on the TV shows. Maybe he should be a more central point. Maybe he should have been in the Defenders as well. You see that he's working with Sigourney Weaver's character somehow from prison. Like, there's ways to make him more involved, so I don't feel like I'm getting less Klingon. I was gonna say Klingon. Less Kingpin. Jazmin thinks he's too old to play Wolverine. How about Robert Downey Jr. Since he wears a robot suit, he could basically play that character. Hugh Jackman can't play him anymore. I'm very interested to see who they have play Wolverine now, because I don't see you being able to consistently do X-Men forever without eventually bringing in another Wolverine. And Hugh Jackman being that Iron Man. It'd be interesting if they switched, because I know Robert Downey Jr. might be done with playing Iron Man at a certain point in time. I don't think anytime soon, but have him go over and be Wolverine, and have Hugh Jackman come over and be Iron Man. Okay. Makes sense. 90s cartoons were great for Batman or Batman. It's true. It's true. And those, I'd say at the time, I watched more Spider-Man in the 90s. I watched more of the Spider-Man cartoon because it was on at 3 o'clock every day. So while I was working, I would watch Young Hercules. Yeah. Like Static Shock and Spider-Man. The Batman animated series and the Justice League and all of that, I didn't get into till probably the mid 2000s when they started replaying it all on Cartoon Network, and they started doing the repetition of the Batman animated series. And then I started watching the Justice League hour shows, and I used to start staying home on Saturday nights just so I could watch it because it was on at like 1 in the morning or something. So that's when I realized that was the best animated series. At the time, I watched the Spider-Man and the X-Men series probably more often. I would record them on cassette tapes and rewatch them and stuff. It's hot in here. I'm sweating like a pig. So everybody, what have we learned today? We learned that I'm really annoying in the mornings, and thank goodness you guys don't have to really know me. No, I learned I like to talk in the mornings, and I should come out here more often to do these kind of live morning streams. Try to at least come out here one morning a week to do a morning stream. So I will try to keep that consistently. I want to wish all of you guys, hopefully you had a happy holidays, and sorry for the impromptu break, but, you know, it wasn't that long. It felt longer than it was because I went through a huge life-altering event since Thursday and over the 4th of July. It was like huge life shit happening and huge emotional tripping, as I like to call it, as I was referring to it earlier, taking some emotional acid and going through this big fucking thing. So it feels like it's been so long since Thursday, but it really, you know, it's not too long. I haven't been off a week or something like that, but it feels like it's been too long since I've been sitting in the seat. So everybody, if you haven't already and you enjoy this live stream, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share the channel with a friend. And I have to create a fucking thumbnail for this video and actually post it and actually do all the fucking shit for it. So sorry this is majorly lo-fi. I don't really, when it comes down to it, all I care about is giving you guys that are watching a live stream and anyone that's watching this later a good time. So if it's not as searchable as I need it to be, who gives a flying fuck? But so for that reason, even more importantly with this particular kind of video, with these roundups, with the ones that I don't get as specific with this, the episodes of this podcast that I'm not talking about a show right after it airs, that we're not doing our post-episode recaps, those episodes are the ones that it's even more important that you guys share away and tell other people to come check out the show, because these ones aren't ones people are necessarily searching for, but sometimes they're our most fun shows that we have, when we're just babbling off the cuff and having some fun. So if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Consider sharing the channel with a friend to help us keep growing. Consider becoming a patron to help the channel keep going, or PayPal donations, or any other way with our affiliate links, whether it be our Amazon link. Where's our Amazon thing? Whether you want to start your Amazon shopping with this link, it can help us put like some change in the jar. You start your shopping with that Amazon link. It puts like 2 cents for every Amazon sale you make, will add and be like, give us a couple cents to be able to pay for some upgrades. But all those ways you can help the channel grow means so much to us, and to us, meaning my multiple personalities.
Yes, Phil, it means a lot to me.
It means a lot to me, Phil.
Yeah, it means to me.
It means a lot to all my personalities. Everybody, I will talk to you guys next time. Be back sooner rather than later. That's vague as shit. Talk to you next time. Later. I was groomed like Batman parents were fans that bought me a gang shirt for Batman as a kid. Take care, chat. Never talk about Luke Cage Season 2 ever again. Tom says, Phil, next time, tell us what show you're going to make a video about so Tom can watch. In fairness, Tom, I think I mentioned on the last 3 podcasts that I'd be doing something on Bates Motel season. Glow in Luke Cage, I haven't necessarily said, but I have been threatening to do this Bates Motel podcast for a while for Jazmin. So you smoke too much. You smoke too much weed, Tom. I'm only saying that because I'm jealous because I haven't smoked yet today. I mean, ate my sandwich yet today. Taken my medicine today yet. Do whatever that is I have to do today to be a normal person. I don't know. I'm losing my shit. Can't handle life. Ah! Yes, there was very little reviewing going on today.